Now, in this context, I have to explain you the functionality of parsing methods. Why parsing? Actually, now you see these values, whatever primitive values you have given at command line argument as command line arguments, those are converted as strings. Those are wrapped as strings. In this program, we just display. For displaying it, there is no problem at all. When problem comes, if you have to perform any operations, problem will come because these are all wrapped. For example, you have 5 chocolates on hand. Then 5 chocolates, for showing I have 5 chocolates, you can show it. Can you eat them? Because those are wrapped. Those are wrapped. So you cannot eat as it is. So you have to unwrap. For eating purpose, you have to unwrap the chocolate and then only you can eat. For displaying purpose, there is no problem. So in the previous program, we just displayed. That's why we need not unwrap. But when unwrapping is required, if we have to perform any operations, what operations you can perform on marks? You have to find out total marks. Then you must unwrap. Then whenever we have to perform operations, they should be unwrapped. For unwrapping purpose, the parsing methods are provided. Before that, I have to tell you, I have to explain that the primitive data types of the Java. Actually, in the next chapter, I am going to explain all the data types, primitive data types and reference data types of Java. And in this context, I brief it. There are 8 primitive data types which Java provides. They are byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean and char. Totally 8. Byte, short, int, long, float, double, char and boolean. Totally 8. For all the out of 8, for 7 wrapper classes are provided. Wrapper classes are provided. Now you can easily identify. Class means first letter is capitalized. That is the greatness of Java. Java conventions indirectly and directly tell you so many things. Now, byte. This is the wrapper class of primitive type byte. Primitive type means byte. You write like this, byte. For a bytes, wrapper class is byte. Short. Shorts wrapper class is short. Int wrapper class is integer. Long wrapper class is long. Floats wrapper class is float. And double wrapper class is double. And booleans wrapper class is boolean. Just remember that. In order to understand the mechanism, wrapper classes, why those are created and all that, we have to learn a lot. Don't care whatever you require in a particular context, that extent you learn. That's why I am telling you, this is called abstraction. You may not know in this context, you may not know entire thing, but don't worry. You can understand everything and you can implement it also. Such type of technique I am providing to you. Now, for all these classes, parsing methods are there. What these parsing methods are doing, already I told you, all these values at once you give at command line, those are wrapped as strings. So by using parsing methods, you can unwrap them. Means 45 is wrapped as a string. By using, actually assume that 45 you declared as int. Then what you do? What parsing method you have to use? Actually, where you want to store, suppose marks 1. In marks 1, you want to store 45, but 45 is wrapped. Now, originally marks 1, let us say it is int. int marks1. You want to store, then what you do? Which class, which wrapper class you have to take? Integer. Integer parse int, what you have to give? Where your 45 string is there, args 0. This is the mechanism. Your 45 marks1 is stored as a string in args 0 that you have given. Integer parse int method is a static method. How you can recognize it as a static method? It is linked to the class. If it is linked to the object, it is an instance method. It is linked to the class, integer class, that's why it is a static method. You have given args0 as you have given this one as an argument. Now it unwraps it, it removes the wrapper, and what is stored in that? 45, your primitive, whatever primitive you expect, that integer primitive is stored in marks1. In the same way, suppose last one, int marks 5, fifth paper marks. What we have to write? Integer wrapper class parse int args 4. Actually, don't confuse, it is a common mistake committed by everybody. Arrays index is 0 base index. So, but our marks and all that, no 0 base. Marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, mark 4, mark 5. So, marks 5. Then args 4 you provided. How it is provided? 89 in wrapped form. Then this removes the wrapper. Now it has become primitive. Now we see all primitives you got. Then suppose you have to calculate total marks. You can do that. How you can do that? Int total marks is equal to, in this way you unwrap, then marks 1 plus marks 2 plus marks 3 plus marks 4 plus marks 5. Then you can get it. This is the process. At command line, whatever arguments you give and all that, regardless of their nature, they are wrapped into strings, and strings for displaying, okay. But if you have to perform any operations on them, you have to unwrap them, and then only their original values are created. Then you store them appropriate variables, and you can perform whatever operations you want to perform. For this purpose, always you remember, in which type of value you want to extract, then that type of parsing method you have to extract. Now suppose integer value I want to extract, that's why integer dot parse int I have used. Suppose these are floating point values, then what I have to use? Float dot parse float I have to use, and in turn whatever value is returned you have to store in a floating point variable. That is the mechanism, this is the technique. So in order to crystallize your knowledge on this and all that, I will explain one cache build program. Cache build, just I have given an introduction earlier, and that program I give, and by that, and one more also I give you, by that you can crystallize your knowledge on this concept. One thing I am telling you, whatever concept you learn, that should be the first and the last attempt. You should not refer that. You come out of the college habit studying one concept many times in different seriousness and different ways and all. That is very bad, because once you understand this concept thoroughly, it is one weapon in your armory. Understand? It is a tool in your toolkit. So every day you own certain tools in your Java armory. Then only you will become professional. And one more thing I am telling you, if you write all these programs on your own, you will code. All coding concepts are incorporated in your brain. You can own the coding concept. Then only you can write code freely. You can write programs freely. Otherwise, you waste a lot of time in writing code, because every time you have to refer, or otherwise, if you don't write code properly, errors are bugs are created, and for debugging, so much time you have to spend. That is waste of time. You are unnecessarily tired. That's why what I suggest you is understand every element first. Write code, thereafter you type it. That is a very good habit, natural habit. By that you can own code.